So today we will take a look at 3 ways of creating feedback loops in Bitwig and experimenting with feedback in various scenarios. As always, I added the ideas from this video to the PDF of tips and tricks I keep on updating. It's available on my Patreon together with the project files from this video and from many other videos. So the first most obvious way is by using the grid. Here I'm using the polygrid. I have a sequence going. I'm also sending this sequence to the mode delay as another delay layer. By the way, it's always a good idea to have a limiter set up when experimenting with feedback. Here I have this in the effects chain, right? Just a limiter to make sure the levels don't go too high. And now we can create a feedback loop and feed the delayed signal. I want to feed it back into the phase input of this voice. Right, so for creating a feedback loop in the grid, we need the long delay module. So I will add this here. Unlike patching feedback in hardware and software, we need to add a delay to the signal. So let me zoom in a bit. I will set this to the shortest delay time. And this will very much depend on the sample rate you have set up on your audio interface, but now we can feed back the signal. If I try to connect the delay directly back to the phase input, right, it will not let me make this connection because again we need to add delay to this. So this will go to the long delay and then back to the phase input, and now I can bring this in and get a feedback loop. Right, again, the voice is going to the delay, and the delay is being fed back, fed feedback into the phase input, right? And we change the sound in a feedback loop. Of course, we can also modulate this. I have here a modulation source. Right, so this will very much change the sound. Another fun idea is to send the filter back into itself and process only the feedback loop. This I have here. Right, this is another sequence, sort of a bass sound. Let me solo this. Right, now what I'm doing here, I'm mixing the saw wave in this case. This goes to the filter. And then the filter I'm sending back to the long delay, then a phaser, all-pass delay, and high-pass filter, and back into the mixer. Right, and again the mixer goes to the filter goes back to the feedback loop, goes back to the mixer, and so on and so forth. So now I can control the feedback amount with this channel here. Getting a different sound. This will also work nicely in the effects grid, so let me solo this here. I have another sequence. Right, and I have the effects grid here set up. I'm using again the long delay here. In this case, the long delay I'm using as an actual delay effect. Right, so I don't need to use another one if I want to create a feedback loop, but I'm feeding it back through a pitch shifter that will take this an octave up and an all-pass delay, and again back to the mixer goes to the delay goes back to the shifter or the feedback path, back to the mixer, and so on and so forth. So now with each loop we get an octave up, which will be 2 octaves up, 3 octaves up, and so on and so forth. Right, and this even works in the note grid. Again, let me just solo this. Right, I have here a very simple sequence. And here I'm using the transpose module, right, and I'm going again to feed it back into itself, right, again going through the long delay and then back to the mixer, so we get notes fed back into themselves. Now I'm using here again the long delay. In this case I'm using it synced to the clock so I can change the time. Right, and of course I can also sequence this. By the way, there are some devices that also have access to the feedback loop. For example, the delay plus, right? You can see we have here feedback FX, so we can put effects in the feedback loop of the delay. Again, in this case, I have a pitch shifter. Just for fun, I have here a psychedelic shaker. Another way of creating feedback is by using send effects or send tracks. Here I have a simple sequence. And I have here a dedicated track, a send track set with supermassive. Right, so I'm going to send this track into supermassive, into this send track. Right, and now on this send track, first of all, again, I have a limiter. Please don't forget to use one. And now on supermassive, I will take the feedback all the way down. Again, we will have a dedicated feedback control. And this will be this here. You see, it says here feedback, or there is the feedback sign. Right, so we can directly send the send track into itself. This is something really nice in Bitwig. Right, so I can just raise the level. And now we have feedback. Right, we are sending this track back into itself, but now again, just like before, we can add effects and processing that will be a part of the feedback chain. So what I have here, let me close this here. I have here a pitch shifter that I can bring in a bit. Right, and create a shimmer reverb, but I also have here sweep. So first of all, I have here some distortion or saturation with push. Right, and then I have a high pass filter, low pass filter, and you see things can get quite quickly out of control, so don't forget the limiter. Right, but now we have this nice effect track that again is being fed back into itself. I have another example with a pad. Let me again solo this for a second. Right, so again I have a pad, I have a dedicated track effects, or effects track, sorry, so I'm gonna send the pad into this track. In this case we have here filter plus, delay, blur, and a frequency shifter, and again I can send it back into itself with a dedicated control. Right, again, just for adding another texture to the sound. This works really nicely also with drums. Right, again, I'm sending this to a dedicated track, effects track. In this case, I have a comp filter, pitch shifter, bit 8, and blur. Again, sending it back into itself. And of course, we can also modulate or sequence this. So I have here a sequencer that I can use. Right, so it will sequence the feedback amount or feedback level. I have here also a bass with a feedback loop. The feedback loop or the track, I have here a few layers, filter plus with more filter plus and a blur in 3 different layers, again feeding it back into itself with some modulation. The last idea I want to show you is creating feedback by using the DC offset device. And just to show you the main idea, I have here the polymer that I can play with my keyboard. And I have here a delay setup, the delay plus, without any feedback, so we get just one repetition. Of course, I have already a limiter set up. Don't forget the limiter. So now we can set up a feedback loop. So what I will do, I will put this delay plus into a group, or I will use it in the effects layer device, right, by grouping it with Control G. Then I will set this to 100% wet, and I will add an empty layer. Just double click and hit OK. So we have an empty layer, and we have the layer with the delay plus. And now before the effects layer, I will add the DC offset device, right? With this device, we can create any signal we want. And to get the audio back from the delay, we will use the audio rate modulator, this one here. Right, I will set this to get the audio back from the delay. So from the device input, we have the polymer chains, effects layer chains, opalach, delay plus. Right, so now if I play the sound, right, you see here, you can see that here we have the delayed signal. And now I will use this signal to modulate the DC offset. Again, with the DC offset, we can recreate any signal we want. In this case, we recreate the signal from the delay. And the feedback level control will be this gain control. So for now, I will take it all the way down, and I can start adding feedback. And this is the main idea. Of course, on the delay plus, like we've seen before, we have feedback and access to the feedback path. But again, this works with any other device. So here, for example, I have a kick that will play randomly. Right, and again, I have 2 layers. I have the empty layer, the dry layer, and I have the effects layer with blur, pitch shifter. And I have here already the DC offset device set up, again with the audio rate modulator, getting the audio back from the last device in the chain. In this case, it's the pitch shifter, and I can start adding feedback. Right, now we can also select the exact source. So by default it's set to receive the audio from the left channel, but we can also go with the mids, let's say, or the side. We can even rectify the signal, which means we turn it to be unipolar. Right, which will give us a different effect. I also have here a bass setup, again with feedback. Right, two layers, the dry layer and the effects layer or the chain. We have filter, filter plus, chorus and beat 8. Right, and again I have here a feedback loop setup with sequencing, so I'm sequencing the feedback level. I have here some percussion just for fun. And I have here also a sequence, again with a feedback chain set up. Right, again, two layers, an empty layer, and I have here supermassive, filter plus, blur, and a frequency shifter, and again, modulating the feedback amount. And of course, this is just the beginning. There's a lot more to explore with this technique and feedback in general, so I hope you will go and experiment with this. Again, come join us on Patreon for lots of extra content. Thank you for watching. Cheers.